Relook, Re-strategize, Revitalize Virtual Forum. As mentioned, my name is Jing, and I will be the moderator for the topic Reimagine to Reignite Live Events Industry. The live events industry has contributed to Malaysia's economy as it engaged memorable experiences to the audience. The revenue shows that live events have earned 960 million ringgit compared to 2011's, which was 845 million ringgit. In 2013, the economic impact of international events has increased by 21%. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, new regulations have impacted live events because of no gatherings and strict standard operating procedures. This topic aims to discuss the strategies that use to reimagine and reignite live events in the new norm and beyond, as well as to improve the consistent extraordinary experience. Let us welcome our panelists for this virtual roundtable discussion. I would like to first invite Mr. Rizal Kamal, the founder of LOL Asia, as well as the president of Arts, Live Festivals and Events Association. Over to you, Mr. Rizal.
Hey, I'm the CEO of LOL Asia and also the president of ALIFE, that stands for Arts, Live Events. I haven't done concerts. I forgot the name of my own association. The word concert is a bit alien now, isn't it? In more than a year. Maybe not the big ones, the small ones, yes. Virtual ones, yes. Yeah. So I've been doing for 12 years now, and it's a challenging time, so to say. So
All right, nice to meet you, Mr. Rizal. And now can we have Ms. Munas van Boonstra, the founder of Nasty Inc. Management, as well as the treasurer of ALIFE, to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Munas van Boonstra. Used to run concerts, but obviously we haven't for the last 1 year. And hoping we can run something this year, but we don't know yet. And looking forward to a recovery in 2022, hopefully.
All right. It is very nice to meet both of you today. Well, without further ado, let us start with the first question of our roundtable discussion. So the first question will be focusing on adaptation to the new norm. We are aware that ALIFE have been sending proposals to the government to seek for the possible of reopening the live event industry. Well, finally, the authority allowed the live events reopen last week. Can you share with us how do you go through with this challenging journey? Like how many brainstorm meetings ALIFE has done?
I got only half your question. We're talking about.
Yes, Mr. Rizal, we were talking about how ALIFE has gone through this challenging journey and how do we outcome with the final news of reopening the live events industry.
Okay, it's been a challenge engaging the government as early as April 2020 with regards to how to react when the pandemic started, when we got the news around February 2020. Immediately, and one of the key things that will affect us is that social gatherings will not be allowed. So
sorry, I think Rizal, your line is extremely laggy and choppy. I think all of us can't hear you.
Yeah.
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 Can't really hear all of you as well. Tell me what, why don't you talk to Munas first? Let me restart my router, and then we'll see.
Yeah, sure. We'll move on to Ms. Munas first.
Yeah. So basically, ALIFE has been engaging with in different multiple aspects since early as April. The council has been working tirelessly behind the scenes. Conversations are held practically every day, and looking for ways and means to find initiatives, be it from speaking to government officials, to government bodies, to different associations. Anybody and everybody who basically would have an input into what's happening to our industry and how can we try and survive or open up or find alternative ways to survive in the industry. So our council made up of Rizal, including Para, Anita, Rohit, Shiraz, and Grace as well. I must have forgotten somebody. Iqbal, very important. Yes, there were so many conversations, and everyone tried really hard connecting with the government on different angles and different ways, and to basically be that voice to constantly remind everyone that yes, we understand that there is the health issue and that we have to the industry has to be closed, but the arts is very important, live performance is very important, events is very important, and especially for our industry, the livelihoods of a lot of people are at stake here in the gig economy.
All right, so how about Mr. Rizal? Are you back on track?
Am I back on track? I think so.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, okay. Much better now.
Yeah, just echoing on what Ms. Muna said, we have been engaging the government since March 2020, and we started by sending them a copy of what we thought could be the SOP for live events. And after then, it was many meetings with them, and it wasn't easy because we were categorized number one under social gatherings, and number two under entertainment, hiburan, and sometimes in certain sections of the government, the word hiburan is a little bit dirty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So it's an uphill battle. If you notice, we were the second last economy or business sector to open right before clubs and bars, which is still not open. But now we are able to open with 50% capacity, with a minimum of 1 meter social distancing and a seating arrangements of 1.5 meters. So that's a triumph. So everyone can look forward to more shows coming back live in 2021.
All right, thank you, panels. I'm aware that it must be a tough ride to fight for the live event industry throughout the year, especially for this pandemic. We aren't able to have close contact with each other, and especially on entertainment side, we have a lot of dancing, singing around. And for entertainment side, we are supposed to hang around with each other and make fun times. Perhaps we can be able to do it. We take what we have now, which is the SOP that the government gave us, and we're looking forward for your future projects. All right.
Great.
So let's move on to the second question, which is regarding to the current trend. The question is, now the authority has allowed live events with only 50% of the capacity. How do you rebuild the confidence from the attendees to join live events?
Munas, you want to do this first?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, of course, is, for all the participants, such as, the vendors, the organizers, to ensure that, we adhere to the SOPs and that we are all very responsible in ensuring that whenever any event is planned out, that the SOPs are considered first and foremost, right? And so even yesterday, ALIFE had organized a session with multiple vendors and members whereby we run through the SOPs, or Rizal ran through the SOPs to make sure that we all really follow and abide, and that our audience health is a priority, right? And even for our performance, that their health is our priority. We have to make sure that this is done correctly, and that the whole entire industry is committed to patuhilah the SOP for live events.
Yeah. Also, we don't want to be at fine. The fine is so high.
10,000.
Yeah, I mean, imagine in a show of 200 people, and the authority comes and deem, okay, you didn't follow this SOP, this and that, and okay, everyone gets 10,000 summons each, so that's 200,000 for them, and the organizer gets fined 50,000. So it's a very scary prospect, isn't it? And it's like you want to start your business,
it is.
but just thinking of getting people together and the possibility of people getting fined, it is scary. However, saying that the government is in an effort to completely reduce or eradicate COVID-19, and it's happening. Numbers are coming down day by day, so they have to be careful to not allow activities which could create clusters. So we understand on that part as well. They put the fear of God in us by putting high fines. So we hope people who do attend shows does follow the SOP, and people who organize shows also follow SOPs to the dot.
Yeah, right. And I think to also add on to that, right? So I mean, it is two-pronged. One is the organizers and vendors. We have to make sure that we follow the SOPs, and that the people attending also follow the SOPs, right? So we kind of have to be the police in that sense at these events. But I think on the other hand, it's also very important that in order for this industry to survive, with only 50% occupancy, that means chances of even organizers trying to break even for a live event is going to be tougher. So the other prong that's needed is we do need the audience. We do need people to start believing in us and coming back to attend live events, going to watch the movies. That habit needs to happen, right? So it is two-pronged, and that's the only way the industry has can restart.
And I'm sure everyone misses a concert, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Show, hangout. Okay, fine. It may not be the same for the year because there's just that distance apart between people, and there's SOP to be followed, but you just can't beat the loud music, the direct interaction between the artist and the performer. For the
audience
whole year,
laughing with you.
Audience laughing for the whole year, because watching through the screen. It's just not the same.
It's
that
like
you don't feel the energy.
TV,
Yeah, you're just watching something on TV. It's a little bit passive.
You're laughing yourself, and people think you're like so weird laughing in the computer.
So I hope people remember that and come to watch the live shows. And for this year, especially, perhaps towards all the way to the end of the year, or close to the end of the year, our borders are not open. So the shows will be only with local artists. And you guys gotta support the local artists. They haven't performed in a long time in front of an audience, so they want the audience to come and show them a bit of love.
Yes, as we can see on the Instagrams during the pandemic, we also have some of the hashtags such as support the locals, especially when they share, as well as Maybank. They also have a lot of stores support the locals. So therefore, we should do our part as well in supporting the live events industry so that we can do better. And also, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts towards this question. It must be hard because of the cancellations and the postpones. Customers start to doubt it if it would delay again, so they might not trust the concerts again. As well as our health issue, we are very concerned about it. And also the fine, we are paying for a 300 ticket and we end up a 1,300 ticket. We might not know, So, but of course, we truly miss all the live events as much as you do. And we hope that everything can bounce back to normal as soon as possible. All right. So let us move on to the third question, which will be talking about sustain. So do you think that the new norm will alter the live events experience for the attendees? Due to the latest SOP, live shows now are restricted to be seated. So does that affect the experience for freestanding concerts? Because we know that KL Live, for example, we are all freestanding. We don't have chairs in KL Live. So if we are allowed to, we are only allowed to sit down, it must be weird for the attendees to have this kind of experience.
Well, I mean, sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, well, I think with the pandemic, right, everything is a new experience. It's not just the live events industry. It's everything, right? And we've all learned to basically live with this new normal and a new experience. So, I mean, people would have thought they would never have been able to work from home, but yet here we are, we're all doing it, right? And the impossible has become possible. And I think, as long as one is able to be in the live event atmosphere, like what Rizal said earlier on, the laughter, the interaction, I think just being able to be in that environment already makes a huge difference to just watching it on screen. And so, yes, albeit the fact that, we can't be hugging and we can't be next to each other and we can't be jumping next to each other, we'll be seated. But being able to even have that live experience already is a huge, huge difference compared to what we've been doing for the last 1 year in terms of events and virtual events.
I think even right now, touching a stranger is strange.
Yeah. Well, not wearing a mask is strange.
No, when someone is near you and they're not wearing a mask, you go like, why aren't you wearing a mask? And being right next to a stranger, you feel uncomfortable. I think a lot of people in the current state feels uncomfortable. So the 1 meter or 1.5 meter between each person, I think at this point it makes sense. People will feel more comfortable in a concert atmosphere when the safety aspects are taken care of. And I remember, but when we had the first lockdown, and it was about a couple of months, right? And then I attended a small comedy show at Crack House Comedy Club. It was the first show since the first lockdown. And the feeling was just amazing to just be around people, to just enjoy, the energy in that room. So I will always remember that first day after 2 months of not enjoying any live shows. And I think that feeling will be enjoyed by a lot of people as well. It's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of being able to normalize from all these restrictions. Yes, it will be different. It's the new norm. But with the vaccination happening and and the numbers are coming down, perhaps we don't have to experience this too much longer. Maybe things we can go back to normal towards the end of the year or early next year.
Right. Thank you for the responses, panels. I do agree with you that we have to live into the new norm, because during the pandemic, we do learn a lot of lessons, such as our hygiene. We have a lot of germs in our hands, and we don't even know that, Exactly. So, well, we have to take what we have now. For example, the MCO, when the MCO hits, we can't go out. We have to take it in order to lower down our health problems. And however, we are very excited to see what will be the outcome of live event in the new norm and beyond. All right. So let us move on to the fourth question, which will be talking about re-strategize. So we get to know that other countries have hosted some innovative events, such as the drive-through concerts, the space bubble concert, world online concert, as well as the comedy shows. In your opinion, do you think that the Malaysians are ready for such innovation?
Innovations are costly.
Yeah.
It is an expensive thing to take on. And quite a few people did take on some innovations. For example, there was outdoor cinemas that opened briefly, and there were also drive-through live experiences. But all of them did not do well because of a few factors. Number one, people take time to get used to new things and innovation. And our economy has been start-stop. We start, and it's costly for you to invest and research on new things and try to implement without certainty in the future. So I guess in terms of innovation, it will be just innovating, getting into virtual rooms or virtual seminars, virtual concerts. And in the coming future, we will see a lot more hybrid concerts. So I think that's the level of innovation that Malaysians producers will go to in response to the pandemic. We won't see too much of something really crazy and whatnot. We're just hoping things come back. I don't know, Munas, what do you think? Do you agree with me?
I mean, between just our council members and even the ALIFE members, there are some of them who have tried or trying to do these kind of events. But like Rizal said, right, first of all, as organizers for us, cost is always the biggest issue. And, it is funded by obviously people attending and paying for it, right? So with the pandemic, it is a bit of a chicken and egg. People are unsure whether to go or not to go, so we don't know how many is coming. And then people are also, savvy with their money during these challenging times. So therefore, for the organizers, when we do such innovative events, it is extremely costly. And it is a cost that we part with, and we have no idea whether can we even recoup the money back or not. It's bad enough that we couldn't open majority of the times. So to do such an investment, it is extremely risky. And like Rizal said, right, start, stop, 1 minute buka, 1 minute tutup, 1 minute buka, 1 minute tutup. So for us, we can't even do any proper planning. And for events, unlike most other industries, we have to set up, tear down. It's not a one-time cost. It is pretty much like a daily or event-based cost, right? So that's extremely, extremely expensive. So it is tough, although I do know, like what Rizal has mentioned, a few people have tried. And, people are willing to try. And a lot of people talked about it. There were a few drive-through events and drive-in cinemas. But, again, I think it's hard to maintain or hard to do if there's no consistency. And consistency is required in order for the audience to have faith, the people, the consumers to have faith to come back and participate in these events. And also faith for the organizers to want to organize such events.
Yes, doing an event takes time. To plan something locally, local events, it can take easily 3 months. And to just do planning to execution.
To marketing, yeah.
And to market the show as well, to market an event. An international event is a minimum of 6 months. So when you are unable to predict what happens in the future, will the shows be allowed or not, it's very difficult for you to innovate and plan ahead. So it was better to pivot. The word that we hear a lot last year, pivot. It was better to pivot and find different ways to make money. Innovate in different ways rather than trying to do a live event with innovative features like the bubbles and whatnot. I think we just went virtual. Everyone went virtual.
Everyone went virtual, and I think the innovation came in for a lot of us Malaysians was going virtual, and then how can we monetize from going virtual? Yeah.
All right. So I understand that money is a real problem during this pandemic because we do understand that there are many people have lost their jobs, and especially I'm sure that the entertainment industry, they've lost a lot. So
we've lost our own jobs.
yeah, exactly. It's like a big gamble for the industry to try a lot of new things at the moment. I do agree to you that it is better to innovate in different ways and in a safer way instead, which is why we went all viral. We went all virtual. Like for example, this event right here, we could have done it physically because now it has reopened. But then we chose to do it virtually because we do not know what will happen tomorrow and what are numbers of infected will happen. Therefore, we must be safe. We must stay safe at this moment. So we've also noticed that Mr. Rizal, during the pandemic, you have a new show, which is in Astro Warna, which the name was Gelak Gempak. So it is almost like one of the trending comedy shows in other countries as well. It includes like roasting each other and for a comedy show, but in Bahasa Malaysia, which is very creative, that it also includes a culture in Malaysia. So would you like to elaborate more on this, as well as how does your team come up with this idea?
Well, when we couldn't do live shows, we had to move. The word pivot comes again. Pivot into something else. And one thing that we've done before are TV shows. But for us, my company LOL Asia, we've always done things for the urban market and the international market, doing shows outside of KL, bringing big acts, Kevin Hart, Russell Peters, Jimmy Carr, and bringing them to Malaysia, and also sometimes touring around Asia. That was our core business. So when this was taken away, we had to quickly react and find ways, find the markets that are able to help us sustain during the pandemic. So we decided to gather all our expertise, which is doing comedy show and putting it and building it for the local market. So the local market, because we work with Astro, we are looking at people in suburban and rural areas. So the masses. So we decided, okay, this is the time. This is the right time, and there's not much else to do anyway. This is the time for us to share what stand-up comedy is to the masses. So by doing this, we are priming, or we are teaching the masses what is stand-up comedy. Essentially, because a lot of people, they might know, oh, okay, stand-up, but they don't really know what it is. They just know that maybe it's one person talking on stage. A lot of people think that it's spontaneous. So someone just come up and do it. But actually, no, there's a lot of writing, there's a lot of process. And this show, by building it in a competition type show, it allows people to really enjoy stand-up comedy and for them to understand exactly what goes on behind the scenes in a stand-up comedy show. I think that's what we managed to put in the show Gelak Gempak.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rizal. Well, I am impressed on Gelak Gempak, as I noticed the current marketing strategy is actually to follow the trend of the youngsters in the social medias. So the idea of roasting comedy shows has gone viral after Justin Bieber appeared in one of the Comedy Central project. So I'm very impressed that you act immediately and created a Malay version of Gelak Gempak, and it has impressed a lot of us.
Yeah, just one more thing with regards to roasting, since you asked, right? A lot of people in Malaysia, number one, is they're not used to the idea of roasting. Kutuk depan-depan, mana boleh?
It's like no manners.
Yeah, like no manners, right?
Yeah.
And that's number one. Number two is the roasting format that we see here is mostly roasting celebrities. Like, how can two comedians roast each other when people don't really know the lives of these two comedians? Because if you roast a celebrity, then you know what goes on the celebrity's life, and you just pick certain things from there and you roast. But we managed to find the technique because for me, I travel a lot to comedy festivals around the world, and I've seen live roasting shows between comedians, and I figured the formula to it, and that's what I brought back and put into the show. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for creating this kind of comedy shows and bring it into Malaysia. It has brought a lot of insights for us as well. We have discovered we should discover a lot of different things in the comedy show because it's a bit underrated at the moment. We should be having more fun in comedy shows right now. So thank you very much for the response. Well, move it to Miss Munas. You have brought down Anne Marie and Backstreet Boys in the past few years. So do you miss organizing events, and how soon do you think it will happen again?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely miss it. I think people who do live events or festivals are nutters. We obviously love pain. And I think we do. And I think not being able to do it and not have the adrenaline and rush, it's very tough. Actually, being an organizer, I've always said I wanted to take a step back. I wanted to relax. But when all of a sudden there was nothing and there's no longer an adrenaline rush and I don't have to, panic or worry about running a concert, it was actually not very good. But even from last year, we didn't stop planning. We're still planning. In fact, last year we planned for a concert this year. In fact, 3 concerts this year. And kind of hoping that situation would change, right? And obviously the situation, because Malaysia, we started quite well. We were regarded like a country that was exemplary. So I thought, okay lah, Malaysia will be the country that will come out of this COVID earlier than everybody else. So we were very positive. Unfortunately, it took a U-turn, right? So then it became like, okay, I think we're not going to be able to do anything for a year. But the planning still continued. And, tirelessly, and it's not just myself, a lot of the members we know are still doing it. But of course, when we plan these concerts that are coming, there is that clause and that open-ended date, right? So we can plan, okay, maybe I'm going to do it in Q4 2021. But possibly it might be Q1 and possibly it might be Q2 2022. So, but we it's still business as usual in that sense for us. We still continue to plan, we still continue to strive, because if we don't, then it's already the beginning of the end of our industry. We need to make sure that it continues and there's a survival to it, right? So, we still do and we still plan.
All right. So I must agree with you that we were very good in handling the COVID-19 at first, but yes, we were a pain, which unfortunately made the numbers rise again. But however, thank you, Ms. Munas, for the response. I personally really love physical concerts because it is a place to release your passion towards your love in that particular music. So while I also can share the passion with the people that has the same energy, therefore, I'm sure that the attendees right here, they would understand the vibe and the energy as well. So we all really miss concerts a lot. And we hope that the numbers will come down as soon as possible and we can turn everything back to normal. Well, thank you so much for sharing the answers. It has really given us more inspiration to create more unique ideas for the future of live events. So let us move on to the 5th question, which we'll be talking about the future. So what are the strategies that your company is putting in place to prepare for the revival of live industry?
Well, I mean, for myself, it's obviously, we will definitely do hybrid events. I think we can't run away from that for at least another year or so, not until the whole world gets vaccinated and that the vaccine proves that it works and everybody's, truly immune. So we would definitely go into a hybrid model. And I think for us, like I'm used to only doing international artists. So for us now, we would have to probably look into doing local artists, which is something that we don't normally do. So these are the little things that we have to prepare. And even other things would be to pivot. Maybe we organize something else different. I don't know. Maybe we organize a pasar malam instead. So
very
with
safe.
yeah, very safe.
Very safe. Yeah.
Right,
We'll definitely can do it.
baskets, yeah, because that's allowed, whereas our industry was not allowed. So it's just things like that, right? So we just have to be really agile. I think the word is agility is so important here for our industry, and even next year that will be the case. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
you
how
know, for
about-
me, hybrid shows with local artists. We have quite a few planned over the next few weeks, and I'm lucky to be able to get into TV as well. So pushing more live shows onto the TV platform to support with the revenue, because the revenue from ticket sales due to restrictions of limitations of 50% is a little bit low. For us, well, a lot of times when we do concerts, the break even is like 60% or sometimes 70 or even more.
Hey, you lucky lah, 60%. Some of us 90% or 85%, dude.
Yeah, I know. Like you know, the clause some of the biggest international artists on us, that the local parties only earn about 10 to 15%.
10%.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. With the biggest artists. Although the 10% can be quite big, but you know, that's the limit of the amount that we can earn from artists. But you know, some other types of shows with local artists or mix or not so big of a show, the break even is around 60 or 70. But now it's the capacity is only up to 50%. So that presents a big problem when it comes to cost. The cost has to be cut throughout, across board, which means artists have to earn less, the venues have to charge less, people who provide
Vendors
equipment,
have to charge less,
vendors have to charge less. Everyone has to charge less in order to make the business model work. So that is one of the key things moving forward. There must be an understanding between everyone in the industry that we want to revive this. We want people to
we all
start
need to help
enjoying
each other. Yeah.
We all need to help each other, do collaborations, increase partnerships, pressure the government to give us a little bit more stability, and so forth. So if you see live shows out there, those are the ones that has really pushed through. And it's not easy because the licensing is a little bit different. It could be easy, could be difficult, you don't know. Because last year, in the middle of the pandemic, it was actually tough to get permits to organize a live show, even though the federal government, the federal government says, yes, you can do live shows now, but in the local government or the state local council, they still like, now we don't want any live events in our state or in our district because we believe that it still presents a danger. So the level of collaboration and cooperation and understanding between vendors, government, and audience must be there. So thank you for this kind of a forum. So I hope to be able to get the understanding out to as many people as possible.
Correct. It's really important, right? That the whole industry, it's an ecosystem, right? So from us being the organizers to the vendors, suppliers, and to the people who are going to come and support, right? So a lot of people say, oh, the ticket's so expensive. Why is it so expensive? Well, we are at 50%, and it is hard for us to try and even break even, right? So again, it is, everyone has to help everyone, and every little bit counts, right? And most important thing here is we need to get more live events and live shows out there. We need to prove that live events can survive, is needed, and that as long as we all follow the SOPs and everyone's responsible and committed to doing so, that it is safe to let us continue and do business, right? Because we are the last industry to open up, literally one of the last few industries to open up. So we need the cooperation of everybody to support live events and live shows and festivals and the arts.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Munas and Mr. Rizal. However, I have another question regarding to this topic. As live events are always limited by the government, but the online world is a platform with unlimited potential. Does ALIFE has any plan to support local comedians or artists to move into the online world?
Well, for me, yes, definitely. I have this platform called We Are Live with the URL wearelive.asia. And this is a platform for artists to have a presence in the online world. Of course, you can do your own things in Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, social media, TikTok. Right now, everyone's dancing. Everyone's dancing in TikTok, right? But my platform allows each video to be charged, either by a subscription basis or video on demand basis, where it's charged per video watched. So the goal is, as Munas mentioned, this year or maybe another 2 years, hopefully longer for me, because I already have the online platform. We are building this platform and building a lot of doing a lot more content this year to support the local artists and to enable these local artists to have professional shoots and professional presence online. Hopefully that'll work. Yeah.
All right, Ms. Munas, do you have anything to add?
No, I guess on our side, what we've done is we've worked with many clients to bring a lot of these artists or even influencers or KOLs or content creators out live into a bigger platform, right? And that's worked, and even to help them find ways to monetize. So even for us, what we did was for one of our clients, we did a digital tipping jar. So they perform kind of for free. It's like busking, but busking online, right? So, and there's a digital tipping jar, and people can just donate whatever they want to donate. And it's worked for some artists. It's worked, but it hasn't worked for everyone, right? So it's learning curves, and it doesn't mean that you are somebody famous, you will be the one who makes money. In fact, the one who made the most, from what we've seen, are the ones who are nobodies, and nobody knows them. But I think, again, we don't know, right? I guess people think, kasian this fella, he's a nobody, maybe we help him out. And I think this is something that we need to do more of. Unfortunately, no one's willing to really try. And, in Malaysia, we have this culture, semua nak free, Streaming pun nak free, semua nak free, video on demand nak free, let's hack it, macam mana, can we get it free of charge? So again, as long as it's an ecosystem, right? As long as people don't support, the organizers or the artists or the gig economy, in letting them have a revenue, then it's very hard for us to do these things, right? There is a cost to everything. So
it's two parts, isn't it?
Yes.
If people don't give, if people aren't willing to pay for digital content, we can't produce high quality digital content.
Yeah.
And all you get is just the basic run-of-the-mill, basic setup, basic camera works, and not so big artists. That's what you get if you do things for free. But if you're willing to pay, we create a culture where people are willing to pay for quality content, then the producers are able to produce quality content.
Yeah. So I think that's what's needed. And we need to educate our market, our Malaysian audience. And I think, we need them to really show their support, right? When you say you love this artist, or you love this performance, or you love this art, or you love this culture, you just as you love your favorite ice cream, you'll go out and pay for it. So if you love this artist and you love this performance, or you love this art, pay for it, and I'm sure even a small amount, it's something, right? Remember, these guys have had no income for 1 year. So I think that culture needs to come in, and that can only be from the viewers, the people out there.
Yeah, I do agree with the both of you. What you mentioned about not paying and everything is free, it is true, because we are jumping into the new technology era where everything can be hacked for free. YouTube, we can download for free. We have the link. Yeah, we have a lot of links to download. We have ways, Of course, I would like to thank ALIFE a lot for giving the entertainment industry a lot of opportunity to shine during the hard times. it is very important to support each other because we are now all struggling, and we have to create the awareness to let everyone work together as one. Of course, not by using it free, not by supporting. I mean, supporting free is fine, but having some money to like support each other would be better. And yeah, about the license thing, I do agree as well, because I personally do experience this kind of stuff before, and I mean, I wouldn't want to explain how long it took for the license to have the results. So yes, as you can see, everyone is struggling now. We have to support each other. The main reason is just this one. So we all have to know that we support each other, we get better into the future, and we can have a better entertainment. We can give more money for them to create more events for us, and we also can have more enjoyment in
I have something to say.
Sure.
ALIFE has been trying to keep the industry alive, literally. Literally. I think our name ALIFE, I think, had way more meaning in the last 1 year. If you guys know behind the scenes, I mean, I can't be as full on as these guys, because during the last 1 year I've been so busy. But a lot of our council members, it's their everyday job to try and engage with people and parties out there to get our industry going, to get grants, to get us heard, to get everything. So, I really need to applaud my council members for working very hard for the whole industry and really fighting the fight. And like I said, ALIFE is keeping the industry alive as much as we can.
Yeah, I do agree with that. ALIFE is really trying to keep everything alive at the moment. So for the attendees, be sure to check out on ALIFE social media for more, to give some supports inside, and also to have more info about the upcoming events. And also, if you would like it to support free, a like and share would mean a lot as well.
Yeah.
So,
just give us a like.
Yeah, just give us a like.
Correct.
Like our social media.
Yeah, we have an event coming up on 9th of April. It's called ALIFE Again. So I think that's something that anyone can attend. You can get all the information on our social media, and also we welcome as many people from the industry to join us as members. It's free membership, but again, the more united we are, the stronger we are. We can fight the fight better. So yeah, so please check us out on alive.my and also our Facebook and Instagram. Macam marketing sekarang.
Oh yeah.
All right. So this has come to an end of our roundtable discussion. So we will now proceed to show the live polling question results.
Oh, someone's gonna throw us some difficult questions, huh?
Well, in the meantime, I would like to announce that we will have a grand lucky draw during the end of the event. So everyone, please stay tuned for the lucky draw session to win out amazing prizes. So let us see the first question for the polling results. What are your most preferred live events to attend? So I'm sure that Ms. Munas, you can see that everyone is missing concerts. So you better be planning and we better be joining, all right?
Planning. We just need people to come and say they want to come, and they will come and they will pay and we will do it.
Yep. So I would hope the 56% of people there will attend Ms. Munas concerts, all right?
No, it's okay. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of partnerships, and that's what's going to happen in the industry. So, you're going to see people like, me and Rizal, or me and Iqbal, or, there will be a lot of partnerships, because that's what's required for us to survive. I think
I know what to do. I'll do a concert with a comedy artist in there. Then I'll get a total of 75%.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, it could be a great collaboration in between. It is new as well. Everyone will be interested to join.
Yeah.
All right. So let us move on to the second question. Do you miss attending live events? For example, concerts, live events. Of course, you can see there's 92% of the people love live events, and we've all missed it.
Hey, what happened to the 7% lah?
Yeah, I'm wondering. What do the 7% of people do?
Maybe they don't prefer noisy atmospheres, so they prefer to be alone in the library. Well, we cannot change their decision, so it's all right. We have 92 supports, that's pretty fine.
I think the 92% is extremely encouraging for organizers like us. That just solidifies the fact that we have to keep our industry alive.
Exactly. So let us move on to the third question. Do you think attending concerts in the new norm will reduce your enjoyment of the performance? And as we can see, 56% of people say yes. I guess it might be everyone is going to have social distancing at this moment, and they might not enjoy with their friends next to each other. So maybe that's the reason why they agree that it might reduce the enjoyment.
And I think this is where this job lies in the organizers, right? We organizers, knowing with the limitations that we have to figure out a way to, strike more joy, bring more joy in the concerts in a unique way or in a different way. I think this is something that's really tough. It is what it is, but I think this is where we have to figure it out as the organizers.
The innovation will come in terms of the content presented.
Correct.
And how it is presented, I guess. So to me, the right answer is maybe.
The right answer is maybe.
You don't know, I mean, if you haven't come to any live show for a year, so you don't know. You just might really enjoy just being there.
Yeah, correct. I think people, again, need to give it a chance. You don't know whether you will or you won't enjoy attending concerts in the new norm until you attend one.
Yes, I do agree with that. You never know what you will experience, what they have done in the back that will make you impressed during the concert. So why not just try out one time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a big amount
Cannot
of money.
just try one, must try a few.
Different types. Try a different
type, different genres, different organizers. You don't know, right, until you try.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to the fourth question. So will you join a space bubble concert? Well, the results are quite weird. As you can see, 42% are doubting it. They are not sure if they want to join or they don't want to join. So what are your thoughts, panels?
I'm a little bit claustrophobic. So being in a space bubble, the thought of it is a little bit negative for me. So it's a no for me. So what about you? You like jumping around in a bubble?
I think it's a no for me. I mean, for me, again, your experience, the live experience is you want to be, you kind of do want that freedom, right? So in a space bubble, then it kind of defeats that. So I would prefer to not be in this space bubble because I want to experience the loud music, the quality of the sound, being able to hear some guy laughing or screaming, weirdly and looking at him and laughing at him. So I think if you're in a...
Yeah, yes, we sort of have a barrier, isn't it?
Yeah, there's already, you already have a barrier with being apart from each other, and then you have another barrier, right? So it's like using a face shield, right? So using a mask and a face shield is very different to just using a mask. So so I think, I personally would not enjoy the space bubble, but doesn't mean it cannot happen, it can't happen, or it shouldn't happen. I'm pretty sure for an experience, there'll be some people who would love it.
People who like jumping around, I guess.
Yeah, correct. All the headbangers, all the headbangers.
Well, we all have different thoughts on this space bubble concerts. Well, for the 31% of people who said yes, I'm pretty sure that they like it because they have their own personal space while they are enjoying. Like, for example, Miss Munas, if I convince you that you can have the space bubble concert just with your kids inside the bubble, will you enjoy it? You can have your whole time with your kids enjoying it around.
No, I don't want my kids to be in my space. I have too much of them in the last 1 year. I want to get out from them. 1 year stuck with them 24/7 in the house is enough. It's driven me nuts.
Yeah, I think I might crush my kids in a space bubble. I'm a big guy, and my kids are not that a little bit skinny, so I'll crush them. So
I guess space bubble is not for everyone then.
No, I don't think so.
All right, let us move on.
Interesting,
To the fifth. Yeah, it is interesting. Let us see the fifth question.
Oh, this is testing my eyesight.
Well, I'll read it for you. Don't worry.
Interesting.
How
This
soon?
is an interesting survey and very interesting to see the results. Actually.
Yeah,
indeed. I didn't expect that everyone would doubt on the space bubble because it's a new experience, though.
Yeah. No, it's. I think Rizal was referring to how soon will you join live events once permitted.
Yeah.
So
looking at the results of this.
It's quite staggered, with obviously the majority going 6 months and above. So, again, I think that goes back to what, Rizal and I have been saying, right? You see, so if this is the kind of numbers, that we look at, right? Again, it's two-pronged. In order for the organizers to be able to do events and to have that faith that there'll be people who attend and that it will be a working model for us, I think we need to know that people want to attend and people feel like attending them. So, but seeing these, whereby majority said 6 months and above, so Rizal and I cannot do anything until 6 months later.
Yeah, I think, maybe it's the perception that people want total freedom in a sense that even if there are like restrictions and SOP, there is that peace of mind that the chances of them getting a virus is extremely low. That will probably only happen, 6 months and above, where the majority of the population is vaccinated. So I believe, that this is a reflective survey, something that I need to think about as well, especially in terms of the size of shows that we want to
correct
a number of shows. So this, it affects.
So I think the other thing that this reflects for us organizers is that, I think we need to work harder, and even ALIFE, we might have to do more of this, which is we need to get that message out, right? That patuhilah the SOP, right? And also that we must make sure that the organizers and vendors out there are really well trained and understand the SOP very well, and that they adhere to it. So that, again, it's all these little things, accumulation of all these things will lead towards the industry or even the audience, right, having the faith to attend. So again, I think, nothing has been done. Our industry only just opened up. So this survey was only just done, was it today or now?
Yep, now it's done.
Now.
Yeah. So, again, so it's still new to everyone.
Correct. It's only been a week. So a lot of people still don't know. A lot of people are still uncertain. And I think that is the job of us in ALIFE, as well as the industry, to, really, really bring that faith back, right? And it will be great to see that the numbers in the next poll that we do, it will be, they want to join a live event in the next 2 weeks or in a month, rather than 6 months from now. So I think that's something that it's something for us to reflect, and something for us to work on, and for us to encourage people to come back to join the live events again.
All right. Well, I do agree that a lot of people chose 6 months and above is because, first thing, the news has just came a week ago, and everyone surely will doubt about it because we might not know the next day what will happen.
Yeah.
And then for 6 months and above, it's because
the vaccine.
Yeah, the vaccine, exactly. Everyone hopes that we all get the vaccine before we start to have close contact with each other. So that maybe that's why we are still doubting on this. Well, ALIFE, you guys can encourage more and do more. I wish that you do your best to encourage more of the people to support the live events industry.
I think the key thing is to encourage by giving confidence. And that people in the industry are aware of all the SOPs, and we really would like to follow and create a safe environment for everyone, all our attendees.
All right, thank you very much, panels, for the responses. So now that is all for the poll results. We may now move on to the pre-forum questions from the audiences. So for the first question, it is a question for Mr. Rizal. As an ALIFE president, you consistently deal with the government. Was it hard? Can you share what is the best way to deal with our government?
Yes. I would have to say it's not easy dealing with the government because there's multi-layers, there's tons of bureaucracy, and there's different ministries that needs to interact with each other. Let me just explain how the process work in terms of trying to get an SOP approved. The first thing you have to do is to actually get the buy-in from the ministry that you are in. For example, for us, is both in Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, and also the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia.
MCMC. Yep.
MCMC. So once these two ministries, we've convinced them that we've created an SOP that is the best, that is okay to run, that is safe and whatnot, then it's brought over to a meeting with MITI. Yeah, they have to get their buy-in as well, because they control which businesses,
the trade industries.
Open. Yeah, the trade industries, which ones we also open and whatnot. And then after that, it's brought to the Ministry of Health and Ministry MOH and MKN, Majlis Keselamatan Negara. That those two are
the hardest.
So you can see that there's multiple layers in the one own ministry. There's the KSU, there is the senior officers, and then there's the minister, and then there's the interaction between one ministry to another. And for MKN and MOH to say yes, everything must be in line and everything must be ready, and all things have been thought of in order for them to say yes. So that is why the process took very long, and it was very difficult for us to do things. And another thing about the government, whenever they want something, hey, we need this kind of data. Can you send it to us?
It's like now.
Like now? Okay. The minister would like a meeting with you. We will have the meeting tomorrow morning, and this is the night before. So I have to drop everything and just boom. Be there. They always ask things because they have their own flow of doing things, and of course all the different bureaucracies and communications between them. So for us outside dealing with them is always okay, tomorrow. Oh, okay, 2 days, 3 days. We have to prepare things for them, and it's always a rush trying to create something to present and for them to say yes. So yes, it was difficult. It was a lot of hard work. I just hope that the things that we've done for the people and for the government is appreciated, so that businesses will be able to run and things will just not go to waste. Patulaihin SOP, yeah.
Yeah, I think the important thing in dealing with the government is persistence and consistency and perseverance, right? You got to keep knocking on their door with the same agenda, the same thing over and over and over again, right? And that's what Rizal has done, right? And basically, you can't give up. You have to keep backing up at them with the same agenda. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was tough especially when they say no. When we submit everything, we talk to them, and government meetings, you don't meet 3 people. Yeah. When you enter a government
many.
There's many. Typically there's 15 to 20 people in the room, and you have to present yourself. You have to present your case and convince people in the room, convince the KSU or the minister who is chairing the meeting. And you have to be sharp. You have to present things with data. So it's challenging. So I'm really glad that everything pulled through in the end.
So I think you raised another important thing, right? An important thing to do is when you're dealing with the government is you need to have data to back you up. Facts and data. It cannot be something that's a feeling or a personal opinion. It has to be backed by data.
Yeah.
All right. Of course, it is stressful for the ALIFE to prepare everything and to convince the government that the SOP is applicable and it is safe for people out there. However, I have to say again, congrats for the big win. We all really appreciate that hard work that ALIFE did, and you guys did not give up throughout the whole year, which outcomes with the results today.
Well, actually, the work hasn't stopped. This is just one win. To revive the industry, we need things like additional funds so So then we have to fight for funds for the lobby for funds for the industry, and
tax breaks.
Plus, we are looking at MCO. According to our Prime Minister, potentially everyone will move into MCO on 1st of April. It's 1st of April, right? Which is less than 2 weeks away. And if that happens, we may not have to stay at 50%. Maybe we can do 100% capacity show with social distancing. So things like that still have to be lobbied, still have to be discussed. So the work doesn't stop, actually. Yeah.
All right. We wish that ALIFE will not give up and continue to contribute to the live events industry in Malaysia, because we love entertainment a lot. So, well, next we will move on to the live questions from the audiences out there. So we have one question, which is I'm very excited about. So it is.
That's worrying for us.
Yeah, no, it's not really. The question is just, we all know that Uncle Roger is one of the trending comedians in 2020. So do you have any plans to bring him in as a comedian for one of the episodes?
I let Uncle Rizal explain.
Yeah, you want me to talk about Uncle Roger? My fried rice is very bad. He will definitely complain about my fried rice.
Peanut allergy is for weak people.
Uncle Roger was just here in KL for a couple of weeks or so, but I missed getting him. The thing is, right, in our comedy shows, if we do skits, yes, we will definitely love the character of Uncle Roger to be on stage with us. But Nigel Ng is the guy that we want, not Uncle Roger. Maybe he'll do a little bit of Uncle Roger. But Nigel Ng, the comedian, where he does his stand-up, we'd like to see that, and I'd like to bring people to see the real Nigel Ng rather than Uncle Roger.
Uncle Roger, yeah.
Uncle Roger, not everyone loves Uncle Roger,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he became famous for becoming Uncle Roger, but he's been a stand-up comedian as himself actually way longer.
Way longer. And it's funny that he's Malaysian, but Uncle Roger has a Hong Kong-ish accent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Since when Malaysian talk like that, must call him.
Yeah. Malaysian talk different, ma.
Right. Of course, I do agree that sometimes people out there, they only know the famous name of an artist. They only know their stage name of an artist. They might not know what they have been doing for the rest of the time, for the rest of the year, which outcomes with this famous name. So it is true that Mr. Rizal, you're bringing him as Nigel Ng inside the comedy show. Yeah. It could let us understand more on how is the journey for him to outcome with this name, Uncle Roger, as well as his whole journey.
Yeah.
On how his name has become famous today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will want to see that, how Nigel Ng became the famous Uncle Roger. Hi,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the response, Mr. Rizal. We move on to the next question. So this is regarding to Nasty Inc., which is for Miss Munas. So Miss Munas, Nasty Inc. is providing virtual event services at the moment. So do you have any tips for us to execute a better quality virtual event?
Well, there are actually many tips, right? I think number one is obviously the environment and setup. Number two would be the kind of cameras you use. There is a difference, obviously, using a Samsung, an iPhone, or Huawei versus actual cameras. Another one would be from a single camera to multi-camera production. That makes a difference. And being able, so you have to treat a virtual event like running a live event, literally, right? So you cannot just have one angle like this. It's very, very boring. It's got to cut into an angle from the right, an angle from the left, a close-up, a far shot. So And even though it's limited in that space, or even let's say it's green screen, it is very, very, very important to have that. Otherwise, it becomes very mundane and boring, kind of like what we're looking right now. It's just the same view, right? So if we are not great speakers or we are not talking interestingly, visually, it's boring, right? So that's very, very important. The next thing also is, to make sure that you are on a platform that works really well for you. So there are many platforms out there. You have to see which platform is best for you. Different events suit different platforms, actually. So I think it's very, very important that you need to see, and it varies, right? What your end goal or requirements are. So I think those are a few tips. But I think most importantly is a dry run, because you're relying on internet. You need to have backups like no tomorrow. So again, it's very similar to doing a live event, but you just got to think of the technology aspect, right? We had one virtual event that we did. It was thunder and lightning. So even though the studio was soundproof, but it tripped the electricity. So there was like nothing, right? We were off air. So luckily, thanks to mobile phones, right, we could quickly get online and inform. We're sorry for technical issues, blah, blah, blah. So, again, it's looking at doing things similarly yet differently and being prepared for it, because technology can just fail on us. So we just have to be prepared for that.
Well, thank you, Ms. Munas, for the tips. So I hope that this helps the attendees who are asked the question. Ms. Munas, you have over 20 years of experience. Perhaps in the future, you might be able to open a tutorial class for us to manage our...
Don't say how old I've been in the industry. Makes me look so old and sound so old.
No, we're just saying that you're
Uncle Rizal.
No, the great thing is Muna started doing live shows at 5. So that's why she has 20 years of experience.
Yeah. That's why you look so pretty. You still look so young right now. All right. Thank you
That's
so much.
That's why it's important to invest in a good camera for live events.
Okay, we'll have a tip for that. We'll remember that. All right. All right. So next, we are moving on to the last question. So the question is, as live events are always limited by the government, but the online platform is unlimited, so are we able to make another Jason Leong or Uncle Roger?
Why do you want another Jason Leong?
It should be another XYZ, It should be another individual. So
it's really up to the artists and their creativity, right? Because the platforms are global. And if you are able, okay, let's talk about Ronnie Chang. Ronnie Chang is the perfect example of the global comedian, a comedian that has be able to target everywhere. How he relates, he's born in Malaysia. He went to school in Singapore, and then he lived in Australia, and now he's in the US. But he managed to be able to relate to all of them, relate to the Malaysians by telling his Malaysian story, relate to the Australians. The Australians think, oh, Ronnie Chang is ours. Singaporean says that, Ronnie Chang is a Singapore actor. And now the Asians in the US say, oh, he represents the Asians. So his ability to relate to people is what makes him so popular. And I think that's one of the key things that a lot of artists have to look at. Where are your pocket of audience? And find the different ways to relate to all these pockets of audience. Yeah. Then you become Uncle Roger, the famous.
So I think, in ALIFE, we have many members who are obviously relatively quite known organizers. Of course, Rizal is known for doing most of the stand-up comedy and comedy shows here. So, if there are any local comedians that want to have that exposure, they should just come and reach out to people like Rizal or any of the organizers here, right? But again, a lot of these things are very individual driven. We can't make the next Jason Leong if Jason Leong himself doesn't do Jason Leong. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of artists, they are very comfortable with the local market, in the sense that, trying to break out is very difficult. So they stay local and they cater their taste to the local market. But if you're really serious about, doing things globally, you have to know how to appeal to different groups all over the world.
Correct.
Yeah, and it takes you on a different path. Yeah.
All right. I personally am a fan of Ronnie Cheng as well because he talks behalf of the heart of all Asians as well as all of the Malaysians. So we hope that any of the comedians out there, if you are interested in comedy, would approach to Mr. Rizal because I'm sure that he can give you a lot of insights.
Jadi manager.
So he can pay for the international market. So thank you very much for the advices, Mr. Rizal and Ms. Munas. Well, that brings us the end of this session. So once again, I would like to thank you for sharing your ideas with us today. Thank you everyone for joining with me in this topic as well. Well, be sure to stay tuned in this room in order to discover more insights about the next topic, which is the tourism industry. Well, till then, this is the end of the Reimagine to Reignite live events topic. I will pass it back to our MC, Miss Carrie. Stay safe.
Thank you,
and have a
Ying.
good day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.